Okay, so this should take no more than 5 minutes, but I had a thought about rule statements, and I know that you all are going to be working on your group rule statement assignment as well as your individual rule statement for the subsections. So I wanted to go over it with you really quickly. So first, just a reminder what a rule statement is. It can be combined with the opening C of a CREAC, or it can be the next paragraph, depending on how long your opening C of the CREAC is. The rule statement does several things. It states the rule or the subpart of the rule that governs that portion of the discussion, meaning that subsection, and provides any clarifying information. Your rule has to always be supported with citation to authority, and as much as possible, you want to make sure you're using binding authority to support your rule statements. The rule statement should also include what policy does the rule serve? Will it be liberally or strictly construed? Does it carry any presumptions? And who has the burden of proof? Noting that it doesn't necessarily have to have all of these things, but you should look for all of these things to see if they're applicable. So what I have a rule statement from a different issue, because I'm not going to give you the rule statement for yours, but I want you to see what this looks like put all together. So here is the rule. The state can most likely establish that Mr. Augustin was in actual physical control of his motorized recliner. That's not the rule. That's the opening C of the CREAC. But here comes the rule. For the purposes of a Florida DUI, actual physical control is established when the defendant is physically in or on the vehicle and has the capability to operate the vehicle, regardless of whether he is actually operating the vehicle at the time. You will note that there is a citation. What comes next? Well, clarifying information comes next. Courts will look at the totality of the circumstances to determine whether the defendant was in actual physical control by considering factors such as the location of the vehicle with reference to a highway, the position of the driver with reference to the vehicle's upright driving position, whether the vehicle or its lights are on, the consciousness of the driver, and the ease with which the driver can start the vehicle by reaching its keys or other starting mechanism. So that clarifies the rule. Next, you actually have policy. The legislature included actual physical control in the DUI statute to discourage drunk persons from placing themselves in control of a vehicle in the first place. Note that this doesn't say the policy behind the rule is. No, it uses it as a sentence. And in addition, so courts are likely to construe the term actual physical control liberally. So you get both a policy and you get how the rule is going to be construed. Next, furthermore, the state has no burden of proving that the vehicle was operable. So the vehicle will be presumably operable when the court considers whether the state has met its prima facie burden. So you have both. The burden is not on the state to prove operable, and there's a presumption that the vehicle is operable. And the rule statement ends with, however, if the state withstands a motion to dismiss, the defendant can raise the inoperability of the defendant as an affirmative defense to actual physical control, and the inoperability becomes a factor in the court's analysis, which is more clarifying information. This time it's clarifying the presumptions. So I just wanted you to see what an actual rule statement with all of those things in it looks like. I am hoping that it offered you some help and some guidance as you go through the exercises in the next couple of days. Have a good one. Goodbye.